Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I'm here checking out HTR High-Tech Racing Plus, maybe? Is that plus part of the title? Is it part of the title? Yes it is, so it's HTR Plus. This game's weird. I mean, look at this car. Look at it. It's one of those old classic gangster style cars. I don't even know, so let's go have a look around first. So we've got the options. You can turn down the music, you can change the camera, and you can also modify your car. Which, oddly enough, there's also a button for out here. Also, you can apparently tap those by accident without actually releasing your thumb. So anyway, here we are in the car setup. And what you have is, you have both these regular cars here that you can equip or buy normally, and they have small increases in stats. And you can also buy the new engines, new chassis, or new wheels. However, this game's unlock system is really weird. If we go back to the car, these special cars here, the Capone and the Elliott, not only are they miles ahead what you can get at pretty much any time in the game, or at least as far as I'm aware. I've only been playing for like an hour and a half, but actually, to be fair, it's probably been a little longer, but nevertheless. You've got these cars here, which you can pick once you beat the first few tracks in the regular mode. And they outright beat everything. So there's absolutely no point to the car customization because you're just going to be taking this thing anyway. Never mind though. So we have a track editor and we have online leaderboards, but those are relatively obvious as to what they are. So we're just going to go to race. Now we've got a few modes here. We got the practice and the championship. The practice is just infinite with no opponents. Infinite races with no opponents. They can just practice for a little while. Championship is obvious. Well, somewhat obvious. It's not like a Grand Prix, it's more like you play one race, and if you come first, you get money and you get to move on to the next track. And of course, you know, go try and get as far through as possible. As you can see here, I'm most of the way through the game. They don't actually include that many tracks, considering most of them can be beaten in what? See, this one can be beaten in 30-second laps, and every race seems to be about 4 laps. So these races are actually really short. You've also got the extra tracks, which are all unlocked, and you can play them all at any time, which is a little strange, especially considering they're not exactly hard tracks. You've also got a ghost mode, which is really strange, because it tells you to beat the ghost times, but after a while, it literally stops giving you ghost times to race. I'm not even kidding, like look, it won't come up. So I literally have no ghosts to go race on these modes anyway, which is weird. I'm pretty sure that's a bug. That stinks of a bug. Maybe I have to beat... No, I don't, because... I don't get these times. I really don't. But yeah, I beat the ghost, so... That's the thing. You can also come down here to race on your tracks. Unfortunately, there's no online multiplayer. So, you can't play these online with other people. But you can share these online. But as to... Actually, I don't think you can share them online, because... How are you supposed to download them? I don't see a way to download them. This is very weird. So yeah, there's no way to download the tracks. Like, yeah, I never got the idea of track editors where you race on them yourself, because you're basically just building yourself content at this point. This is developed by Cubite Game Studio, whose name I've never heard of before, so... Oh well. Let's go and actually do a race, shall we? I think I'll go on one of the advanced tracks, just keep it simple. So I'll just pick this track here. Game's got decent loading times. And away we go. So this is HTR. It's a slot car game. And the idea is you've got this speed meter on the side. God damn it. You've got this speed meter on the side where you either use the left or right analog sticks to do a very twitchy tweaking of this meter in order to determine your speed, or you can use a touchscreen, like this. So as you can see here, I'm using my, well, you can't see it, but I'm using my thumb to determine the game's speed. There's also the what's the word I'm looking for? Off-track system. So when you fall off the track, you press one of the shoulder buttons, or you tap in the bottom left corner to reslot. So one way or another, one way or another, you can play through this entire game purely on the touchscreen, or you can play it on the buttons. However, playing it on the buttons may serve to be a bit of a problem, because until you've gotten a fair bit of practice in, the game is actually going to be relatively hard to control, because it is really, really hard to get the analog stick to sit where you want, especially if you want to go really, really slow for whatever particular reason. Because you won't be able to... I just hit play again. I really shouldn't have done that. I should have gone to the next course. Let the game load, and then we'll just pop back to the menu. That was a mistake. So as I was saying, on the analog stick, it's really hard to be precise, because... I didn't mean to go to the car setup. Why does the right stick move you through the menus? Like, why is that? That's silly. Don't do that. That's very silly. But yeah, as I was saying, the sticks are very, very sensitive, to the point where you have no bloody idea. You have no bloody way to, come on, brain, work with me here. You have no way to go at a relatively slow speed. Like, you can barely get your speed meter anywhere in the first half of the speed meter. Like, see, look at me. I'm having massive trouble keeping it down here. Thankfully, most of the courses don't seem to require this, but there are some turns that do require it. And, like, that turn there. And that's really hard to do without using the touchscreen. So, some people might adapt some sort of style where they use the left analog stick when they want to go max speed, but when they want to slow down, they tap on this part of the meter so that they can slow down at a realistic amount of time. It's a bit finicky at the best of times, and honestly, I don't like it as much as I hoped I would. I mean, it's a really simple system, so I don't really know how it could have been screwed up like this, but it's not entirely screwed up as much as it is just really finicky and annoying to deal with. Then again, it really is just easier just to take your finger off the accelerator entirely and just coast on through, but the cars seem to slow down really quickly. And that's basically all the control there is to the game. The majority of the rest of the game's complexity comes from the track layouts and the track pieces. There are several different kinds of track pieces, like where the corner becomes from 4 lanes to 2, so you end up needing to slow down to take that. And you have the loop-de-loops, obviously, and the wide corners, and where the lanes tend to merge and swerve in between each other, so the cars need to be careful. However, the AI in this game isn't exactly intelligent. I mean, I am playing on normal, so it may not be the best indicator of how the game plays on hard, but the game's AI is a bit insane at times. It tends to rubber band like crazy, that I've noticed. And while it does let you catch up, sometimes it'll just like massively increase its speed to catch up to you once you're in front. Although it also has the tendency to crash a lot, like massive amounts. And that can get really on your nerves too, because when they get in front, it's kind of hard to catch up. And it is entirely possible for the AI to... Bloody hell. It is entirely possible for the AI to crash into you on the corner, let another AI pass you, and then you lose because that AI managed to pass you and get across the finish line first. This actually happened to me more than once. So the AI in this game, not fantastic. Also, the physics are kind of strange. Like, the game claims to be a simulator, but it's a really weird simulator if I've ever seen one. Just some of these physics are weird. Like, the cars have this innate tendency to be able to fly off the track and then pop back on and continue on like nothing happened. Also, I took that loop-de-loop at full speed and I still fell off. Game, what do you want? There are also some corners that seem to make me spin out, like no matter what speed I take them at. Unless I go extremely slowly like that, and even then, it's a bit of a toss-up. So, we've got relatively imprecise controls, really annoying AI, and I really should talk about the ghost mode while I'm at it. The ghost mode is strange. Now, the ghost mode is what you'd expect if you've ever played any particular type of racing game. The ghosts unlock, or at least they say they do. I mean, I had some massive problems dealing with them when I was playing, as I showed earlier, where the ghosts simply refused to show up after a while, but nevertheless. The ghosts are strange because you would expect not to have to race them on the tracks with AI, right? Like, you expect to be able to just run the course without having to run into them or into any other AI players. This game's Ghost Mode means that you actually have to race against all 4 racers and the Ghost at the same time. The Ghost you can't touch, right? So that's not really that big of a deal. As a matter of fact, I'm not entirely sure if the Ghost actually shows up, but nevertheless, even if it does. Bloody hell, how am I supposed to get over this loop-de-loop? Like that, apparently. Ow. Ow. Get back on the track. There we go. So, see this little situation that I got going here where the AI seems to absolutely love crashing into me? Imagine that when you're trying to get the fastest time possible, and the AI can be like, oh, I'm going to crash on this corner and make it so you either have to wait, or you have to just simply, or you have to restart in order to get the best time. Imagine that constantly, and that's basically what you've got with this game's Ghost Mode. So we've got a Ghost Mode that really isn't a Ghost Mode in any way, shape, or form. You've got... Excuse me. You've got imprecise controls. You've got physics that are really, really strange. I'm not going to call them bad. I'm going to call them strange. And you've got just all sorts of random physics crap and AI annoyances and stuff that can just get in the way of your enjoyment. Well, I do like the gameplay, I have to admit. Now, the game itself, despite the fact that it's surprisingly simple due to the fact that it is basically just holding down the accelerator and tapping the tapping the reset button when you need to from time to time, is actually quite compelling. Trying to get the highest possible, God's sake, trying to get the highest possible speed through a track is incredibly satisfying when you get it right, but it can also be incredibly annoying when you get it wrong, because as you can see here, it feels like you have nearly no way to get over that goddamn loop-de-loop. Because just, what am I supposed to do here? I have no idea. Hammering the accelerator doesn't work. Holding it about half speed doesn't work. Apparently you just have to let it go, because that's how this works. It's just, despite the fact that it has all these idiosyncrasies, it can still be incredibly satisfying to get the general loop of getting the acceleration and the braking down right in order to get the fastest speed possible. Annoyingly, you have to actually get first on the track in order to progress to the next track, so we'll just have to try that stage again and get stuck on the loop-de-loops again. I'll probably swap to one of the extra tracks after a bit. I'm just demonstrating all the other camera modes now. These 3 camera modes, the only one that was useful was the one that I was using because it lets you actually see what the hell you're doing with your car 90% of the time. But yeah, as you can see, there are different camera modes and all that. The background graphics there are a little strange, but the actual like 3D models and all that are actually pretty high quality. It's good stuff. It's nice to look at and it runs fairly smoothly. Just my main problem with it is that the game's V-Sync tends to be a bit broken on like almost every stage. Like, it's not here at the moment, but on almost every stage that I've played on, it seems to be somewhat broken because it just tends to flicker the line halfway up or down the screen and just flickers all over the place and it's annoying. And sometimes the frame rate takes a drop as well. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, it's pretty damn obvious. And that can be quite annoying when trying to deal with, like, long sections of arse wipes. Not long sections of arse wipes, just long sections of track. Get back on the track now, please. But nevertheless, despite the fact that the game is this weird mishmash of weird elements that really shouldn't work so well together, it actually does work pretty well. But the game's lack of content might be working against it here. Like, you saw that despite the fact that I've only been playing for like, what, 2 hours, the game's only got 14 to 15 tracks to unlock in its main mode, and even then you'll be through them real quick. And the unlock system in the game doesn't make any sense, because it's surprisingly easy to beat the first set of levels, and once you've bought 1 or 2 upgrades, which come very quickly, you just need to win like 1 bloody game. Well, I won, so I can move on to the next level then. But considering you can actually get like a really powerful car just by beating the first set of levels, which is really, really easy to do, you end up just... the whole unlock system just means nothing. The track editor is just like playing... bloody physics. The track editor just feels like playing with yourself, which just seems like a pointless waste of time to me, and the ghost mode just doesn't bloody work for some reason. So... it's got a lot of problems. It really does. It's just... it feels strangely untested, which is quite strange, honestly. It feels like half the stuff here just is weird. Like, why have other races in the ghost mode? What's up with these physics? Like, why do I have to let off the accelerator to let him go around the loop-de-loop? That's just frustrating. Why do I have to... well, I mean, like, what is with the unlock system just having the most powerful car, or at least something very close to the most powerful car in the whole game, be available after the first 6 stages, which are really easy to get through? Why is there no, like, online play or online track sharing? It just feels like there's a lot of stuff missing. And it's a shame, too, because the base game itself is actually quite compelling when you get right down to brass tacks. Despite its simplicity, it is honestly satisfying when you've got the base gameplay down. Come on, go over the loop, please. Thank you. Are these really realistic physics? Because they sure don't feel like it. Any slot car racers might be able to tell me what's going on here. But yeah, this mode's kind of worthless, because at least in this mode, you can see what's coming up ahead of you. At least somewhat. You know, terrible memory like me might actually make it through, but... oh god, I just went flying. An honestly satisfying game with a ton of tiny underlying issues. It's hard to recommend, but maybe if they patch it once or twice, maybe add a couple of extra things to make it last a bit longer. Like, see that little pile-up I just caused that AI car to get in? Imagine that in the ghost mode, where you have to actively try and beat someone's time. It's infuriating. If they patch it a couple of times, it'll probably be worth the effort to pick up. But right now, I don't think it'd be worth much more than, say, $5, and they're probably not going to sell it for that little. And I'm pretty sure that was the last pro track, so if I hit the menu button... oh, no, I guess that wasn't the last pro track. Oh, well. But yeah, that was the look at HTR, high-tech racing. It's just... a lot of problems, but it could do a couple of patches, maybe a little bit more to make the game a little bit more interesting in terms of unlocks and stuff, and it would be probably worth the buy purely based on its gameplay being really satisfying when it's done right. But those roadblocks in the way just make me want to avoid it, mostly. This has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.